So ZeRo is another one of the streamers that is in the long list of people that is joining another platform. And as this is happening, I'm starting to see a lot of like weird takes coming out of people as to like why these people are leaving the platform. And that's something that I want to address here. A lot of people are super butthurt at this announcement. Right now, as of this video being released, there's 247 dislikes, 123 likes. And I think this is updating every... And like most of these comments are like, you've lost 90% of your viewership. What a shame. So like you're going to see like you've lost your viewership. You're tanking your brand. And like I really want to break down these issues of like why streamers are moving, and then like the general because there's two separate issues here, right? There's why are streamers leaving Twitch in general, and then the specific reasons that streamers are leaving. They sound like the same thing, but they're different. Why streamers are leaving Twitch is something that we need to talk about totally separately. What I'm going to focus on is the specific reasons that ZeRo is leaving Twitch and the context of that, right? So, and also try to like debunk a lot of these like really like weird things that are going on. So the overall arcing reason is money, but I think people misunderstand how money is represented. So like people assume that they're just going to take a fat check and they're going to walk, but I think that it's more than that. I think what's happening is they're changing the way that they're getting paid. So when somebody comes to someone and offers them money for being on a platform, that money is separate from the money that they're making off of subscriptions and donations. So right now, the way that streamers monetize is through their communities, and that is not as secure as a company saying we're going to pay you monthly to be here. So the attraction of like if you look at all of the streamers that are making these moves, right? Here are the first two things that ZeRo said in his move. He said, so two things here. If I want to host an event, I can just hit up Facebook. A lot of instances where I can get the team from Facebook to help, right? So what you see in this is ZeRo is looking for a way to create content outside of just doing live streams. Live streaming doesn't have to be the focus. That sort of oppressive feeling that broadcasters have of having to be there every day and do live content is eliminated with a guarantee. And that is one of the really big reasons that people are leaving Twitch, is because there is no guarantee right now as a broadcaster. Like if I stop streaming, like all of my subs are eventually going to unsub. There's not going to be like, there's no guarantee that like I'm going to be able to sustain it. Even if, and actually more importantly, even if I keep streaming, there's no guarantee, right? Like maybe just people just stop liking my content, or maybe I stop growing, or like, or whatever. Now I would argue that like, there's a market impetus to continue to improve that, right? Like, to some extent, I can make my content better and I can grow. But the point is that it provides that extra layer of security. It's not just that they're leaving for money. It's that they're changing the way that they monetize, if that makes sense. I think that matters a lot for Ninja, that when Ninja left for Mixer, one of the big reasons I think that Ninja left was because he doesn't want to identify just as a live streamer who's completely dependent on that community to monetize. He wants to do shows. He wants to do Jimmy Fallon. He wants to do Ellen. He wants to be a sort of celebrity. In the same way we saw Shroud, like he said, he wanted to focus on their content. Ken Gothalion also wanted to do that as well, Gothalion. And I think that ZeRo is like sort of the next phase of that. So people that are saying money, like it's like this bad thing, and like all these YouTube comments that are like, oh, he's just taking a fat check. I think that's really not right. And I also want to address the issue, like any of the issues like that are around, like anyone's just saying that's like, oh yeah, ZeRo just cares about making money and like doesn't care about his fans. This is like so untrue. Like anybody that's talked to ZeRo or listened to ZeRo and interacted with him a significant amount of time knows that he cares a lot about his fans. And he is, in fact, as far as I know, the only person to leave a platform and gift something to the people behind. So he gifted a shirt to all of his subscribers that were 1 year or more. So like that in itself like shows you that he's like, he cares about his community more than the average bear, and I definitely know that he does. So I would take that out right there. And then another thing that I think that people are saying a lot is like, oh, you're going to lose your viewership, or you're going to lose your viewership. And like, you see these like threads that come up every day where people are like, oh, lol, like Shroud at 5K, Ninja at 10K, ZeRo at whatever, Disguised Toast at whatever these numbers. And the real question that I would challenge people to ask is, why do we think that concurrent viewership, so the amount of people that are watching your stream live at any given time, actually matters? Okay, or matters at least as much as we think it does. This is a question that I've been throwing around in my head a lot, and I think that if you deep dive into the answer to this question, you'll start to change your opinion on like a lot of these people that are moving. Like, let me give you a couple of scenarios, okay? Would you rather have a 5,000 viewer stream, but no one engages with you, and only 100 people subscribe who are your core community? Because if you want that, you can just watch my video about legal embedding on Twitch, right? You can do that by just embedding yourself on a website, and you'll get a 5,000 viewer stream right there, but your chat will be dead, and nobody will be engaging with you, and you won't have any subscribers. Or would you rather have a 500 viewer stream, but 90% of your community subs and supports you, and your chat is fast and super engaging, right? And positive, which is a big thing that happens to people that are getting into like even I'm struggling with it right now, where it's like I'm struggling to keep a very positive community as my broadcast grows, because I'm reaching more mass appeal, which I didn't expect. I've kind of always been that like 200 viewer guy that like went over these points. So my answer in this is like, objectively, I would way rather have the community support and like the positivity and like the engagement and things like that. I think this perception that like big numbers equal success is like something we really need to challenge, and that like the number like being it's indicative of that thought process in the community, that the number one comment and most upvoted comment is like, you've just lost 90% of your viewership. Okay, let's say he does lose 90% of his viewership. If 90% of his viewership is just hanging on the sidelines, not engaging with him, and doesn't care about him whatsoever, and maybe they're just watching because they're you know, it's like the cool thing to do or whatever. Well, is that really a loss? Like, that's potential people that could be converted into a core community, but it's not clear that that's like the only way to do that, right? Is like live viewers. You can do that through YouTube. You can do that through a Facebook video. You can do that through a lot of different other platforms. So I think the viewership argument is kind of questionable. I always wonder when like people bring that up and say, oh, like you moving to another platform is like tanking your viewership. Well, okay, like, but concurrent viewership isn't the only KPI of success, right? It's not the only key performance indicator in this case. ZeRo actually, and then the other thing that I would say is like, I would pay a lot of attention to like when people are saying things like this, where it's like, if I want to do something, I could just hit up Facebook. So coming from a person that runs a talent agency, I can tell you that one of the most important things that influencers care about is feeling like they matter, is feeling like they, so we'll call this second thing significance. Feeling like you are a part of something and that the people behind you have your back. One of the biggest problems with Twitch that's just unavoidable with the size that it is and the market share that it has is just it's big. You know, it's just big. It's really hard to appoint individuals to take care of individual issues among streamers on Twitch, because it's a hard platform to get noticed on right now with 3 million monthly broadcasters, 60,000 partners, and 300,000 affiliates, right? Like you're gonna have a lot harder time feeling like that you are somebody, and there's not just like a phone number that you can call and be like, hey, like let's do like this cool event, and then get the backing of it, right? So this significance thing of like, I've listened to every single talk now on why people are leaving the platform, and I feel like they're all saying the same thing, which is like this, like, okay, I'm somebody here, right? Facebook is going to answer my phone calls, and like they're going to take me up on things, and they're going to do partnerships with me. And I think that's objectively true. Like Mixer and Facebook have both built departments, a lot of people who within them I have met that are focused on just creating events and working directly with streamers, especially their big names, to try to create these results. So I think that significance is sort of an underplayed thing here, and is one of the big reasons that like ZeRo is considering this, right? And then there are some I'll call them like mechanic reasons. So one, for example, is like his YouTube is very large. I believe it's 850K plus people. 820, excuse me. So yeah, so it's like 820K. So one like really simple business idea he can do, right, is he can syndicate the video content on YouTube to Facebook Watch and monetize both. So for example, he can go to like this video that got like 100K views here or whatever. He can just re-upload this video to Facebook, monetize it. It gets all the views from YouTube, and then the crossover audience on Facebook is really small. So the Facebook audience like gets, you know, it's another 100K or whatever it is there, and then he monetizes that, so he gets double CPM. So this is just a really smart tactic. Also, because he's more of a YouTube focused creator anyway, he's able to maximize this kind of thing. And so like he also said that like if you looked at like anybody that's like moving to like Facebook, I think one of the really big power plays that Facebook has is they also run Instagram, so they can help you build your brand on other platforms and sort of make yourself more ubiquitous as a brand. Versus like where on Twitch they can only help you build on Twitch, and they don't even help you do that. And on Mixer they can only help you build on Mixer, and they don't even do that really. So I think that Facebook actually has the strongest call to action for like building on other platforms, because nothing prevents you from still doing YouTube while you work with Facebook, but you also get all the discovery on Facebook and all the discovery on Instagram. And if you work with the right people and you know what you're doing, which objectively ZeRo does because he's a very intelligent business person, then you are going to be able to leverage those platforms to get far more native discovery than you would anywhere else. And those people are going to become parts of your core community much easier. So it might appear to people that ZeRo ends up with, let's say, like 1,000 or 2,000 person stream on Facebook, but he's actually getting a lot more of an engaged community, and a community that supports him, and a community that is ubiquitous with him across multiple different platforms. And that has a lot of value that I think is underestimated by the people that are just saying, oh, like leaving Twitch is going to ruin your brand. And then let's say that the worst case scenario happens. Let's say that it does ruin his brand. He doesn't get any viewers on Facebook, and he isn't able to like build out and build these like presences elsewhere. Well, he's 24. He just took a ton of money for a contract that is probably 2 or 3 years at a maximum. So by the time that he would return to Twitch, while still having his YouTube following, by the way, he's 27 at a worst case scenario. Well, your entire life of content creation is ahead of you, right? Like Shroud, 25, Ninja, I don't know, like all these guys, right? Nothing stops them from any of these contracts after one contract and going back to Twitch if they really care about growing viewership. And we've seen again and again and again that it's like their platform is not going to be dead when they come back to Twitch. It's going to be the opposite. It's going to be like this momentous occasion. Ninja coming back to Twitch would have hundreds of thousands of views. It'd be a huge deal, and they would have collected all of that money from Mixer, all of the partnerships and all of the work that he got from that, and he's just going to go back to Twitch and show up in a big way. So I think this idea that like ZeRo has somehow like tanked his brand or something is like insane, right? Like let's say that the worst case thing happens, and to be clear, like that's not my take. I think that this is going to be nothing but good for him. Let's say the worst take happens and like he's on Facebook and he totally tanks his brand. He's still got years and years and years to recover it, right? So if he's 27 at the end of this, there are literally people that started building their brand way later than that. Like Dr. Disrespect was older than that when he started his YouTube, right? And so like the fact of the matter is like that he has a lot of recovery time. I think what we're seeing is that there's a lot of tribalism. There's a lot of people that are getting mad because like ZeRo's leaving the farm. He's leaving the sort of Twitch ecosystem, and that's like somehow perceived as like inherently evil. Like, oh, you're not one of us anymore. You're one of them, right? And this is surprising because these people in the same breath will come back and say that Twitch is a horrible platform because it's inconsistent with its bans and inconsistent with its enforcement, and they'll have all these reasons why they don't like the platform, and yet they'll attack people that leave as if like not being loyal. And that's like, I just think that's just such like a weird double standard in a way that people are doing that. So I don't know. Like when we really break down like ZeRo's reasons for leaving, I think this like projects thing, I mean, he's already announced that he's doing like a charity stream right away that's supported by Facebook. That's like really compelling. And I also think the security and the way of changing money to be something that is more of a secure thing. Like every streamer on the platform wants a guarantee of money every month. I would love that, right? Like one of the big reasons that I'm not a full-time streamer and that I focus on a lot of other things in my life is because I have no guarantee that I'm going to be like, if I fail or my content fails or something like that, or any number of things, or maybe I just get tired, I get bitter, and I become, like a shadow of my former self, a whisper in the wind. Maybe I get tired of it. Like, well, now my income is being threatened. I got to figure out what to do and things like that. So to guarantee yourself income that is outside of just your community support, I think is really a good idea. And it's one of the reasons why I think a lot of the more intelligent broadcasters have like moved to like merchandising and products and stuff like that. Because that's like one of those things. And then I also think the significance thing matters a lot. And just ZeRo in general, I think, is making a good decision to move to Facebook. And there's probably, just to head this off at the pass, because there's probably going to be a couple of these, but like there's going to be some people that say, well, Facebook is like a terrible platform, like Facebook itself is like unethical, whatever. Like whatever you may feel about Facebook gaming is a separate department that is making an attempt to be present in the live streaming space, and they've been making improvements to their platform steadily, and they have created a good number of creators, and I think as of yet, a good number of people are growing their careers on Facebook successfully and getting paid to do it. So I think that like Facebook gaming overall is like a positive impact, and I feel that way about any competition for Twitch right now. And that would be my general thoughts on ZeRo. I don't know if I'm leaving anything out, but I think you're going to see a lot more people start to move towards more guaranteed income and less streaming hours, because I think the meta of like streaming 8 to 15 hours a day or whatever just to succeed is crazy. And I think like the sort of like feast or famine mentality of like streaming longer hours to become more successful, like, is pretty unhealthy for the whole platform. And for all broadcasters and content creators in general. And the last thing I want to say about ZeRo is how much respect that I have individually for him. I think he's a very intelligent business person. I think that he talks about his content in a really smart way. He thinks about his content in a really smart way. And I think he's making a good decision for himself and his core community by making this change. I totally support him in doing this, and I wish him well. I think I understand the reasons for it. So that would be what I would say. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk about ZeRo. This will probably be a video, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/DevinNash.